coming up on City Spotlight. It's another on-location episode here in Season 7 as we get caught up on the latest going on in Paris. First, we talk with Linda Lane, Executive Director, Paris Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism, on continued growth in Paris, such as the new hotel off Route 1, and how the Chamber is helping out local businesses during COVID-19. Then we talk Paris schools with Paris High School Principal Mark Cox on how Paris High School has been operating during COVID, and a look ahead to spring activities at Paris High School. We're on location discussing the latest going on in Paris, here on City Spotlight. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com. Hello and welcome to City Spotlight. As you can see, we are on location for this episode. We are back in Paris for another on-location episode. We are taping both segments in this episode in the Paris Chamber of Commerce offices. And in this first segment, we welcome back to the program the Executive Director of the Paris Chamber of Commerce, Linda Lane. Linda, pleasure to have you back on.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent. We're taping here on late January. Folks at home are seeing this at the beginning of February 2021. We last taped with Linda late fall of 2018. I think, Linda, you had just started with this position here at the Chamber.
Yes, I had. I just had begun in February of 2018.
Okay, yes. So you're 3 years on the job now?
Yes.
And things are going pretty well?
Yes, they are.
Okay, excellent. We're going to talk about the impact of COVID on Paris through the businesses and how the Chamber has helped out. But first, let's talk about the continued growth in Paris, because there's some things that are happening and that have happened. And late fall of 2020, we have a new hotel in Paris.
Yes, it officially opened in November. There are 72 units there, four stories.
Wow.
Very nice upscale hotel. And Paris is very lucky to have that. We're so excited to have the new hotel. It was much needed, especially with all the industries and south of Paris on Route 1.
Right.
So it was very much needed. So.
To name drop, what chain of hotel is it, and where's the location?
It is a Hampton Inn.
Okay.
And it's on South Main.
Okay. So down there by the industry that you just
Absolutely,
talked.
yes.
And this had been, I think, maybe talked about maybe previously with Mayor Craig Smith, but how much was this needed?
It was very much needed. As I said, with all the industries on that end of town, I think, especially North American Lighting, I know they have visitors from out of country, like from Japan and all, and so they really, really needed a place. I think they have like some long stay units on the top floor for those specific people.
Right. But now they have a hotel.
Yes.
And it's right there by all that industry down there in the south end of Paris. Very good. Another addition to Paris that happened in 2020, and right there along the main intersection as you drive through Paris, Rocky's Italian Bistro. I heard that's jumped off very nicely.
A very, very good restaurant, yes. The location is great. It's right there on Jasper Street, which is also 150, Route 150.
A lot of traffic goes
by.
A
lot of traffic. And Rocky had been working in Paris for quite some time with another restaurant, and he decided to go out on his own and open Rocky's Italian Bistro. It is real authentic Italian food, and I recommend it highly to anybody.
Not to be biased here, I have tried it once, and it was a good experience.
It is very good.
Very good. And again, it's at a major intersection.
Yes.
There's been former businesses there, so it's a very familiar spot for people in Paris.
Yes, he opened in July, and I think that it's been very well accepted, and he has a lot of business, so it's great.
Nice addition there along Jasper, which is a lot of businesses on Jasper,
right.
So very good. And something that we've talked about several times here on City Spotlight with Mayor Craig Smith a few times, the old Paris High School, after it closed in the spring of 2015.
Yes.
I asked him what was going to transpire or happen to the building, because it's such a big facility, and how
Yes.
can you utilize it? And now it's going to be some apartments, and
Yes.
they're about to open.
Yes, they are. They are accepting residents beginning next month in February. There are 42 units there. It's Senior Tiger Apartments is actually the name of it, and it is based upon the salary, the income of the seniors. So it's very affordable, and we are just excited that they actually took the initiative to use that building and not let it sit as some of the other schools have in town. So we are very excited that, and it's a very nice facility. I think it's a great location for seniors. There are stores and
Right.
services close by,
Absolutely.
so it's going to be very, very, very nice. So
The location of the old Paris High School is very
Yes.
much near downtown.
Right. And then they're planning an open house, I think, sometime in early spring or early summer. So,
So
yes.
not too long after folks have seen this episode. So excellent to hear about
Yes.
the apartments at the old Paris High School. And we can't do a Paris episode without talking about the continued growth of Horizon Health. They continue to grow in all aspects. I think there was a Easy Care clinic that opened up there on Route 1 the last time
That's correct.
I taped talking about the businesses in Paris. Tell us how Horizon Health is continuing to grow.
Well, of course, they have plenty of property there to expand, and one of the needs that they saw was to have a facility large enough that they could have visiting physicians, have offices there, very special care providers and that type of thing. So they're building a wing, and it's under construction right now. So we're excited about that.
And Horizon Health, the former Paris Community Hospital, has been a part of the community for 50 years. So it's been an asset to the community, and it looks like it's continuing to thrive into
Yes.
the next 50 years.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. All right, let's shift gears here in our latter half of the interview and talk about some things involving with the Chamber. And one thing you told me about, Linda, while we were preparing for this interview, sometimes when you have people come to Paris, they tell you about, well, where's the Eiffel Tower? Obviously, that's a reference to Paris, France. So I'll let you finish the story.
Okay, yes. It's been a dream of mine, and I ran it by the Chamber Board of Directors, and I am going to be speaking to the Park Board and the City Council to see a possibility of erecting an Eiffel Tower. I have a local resident who is doing a design right now.
Okay.
It will be approximately 12 to 15 feet tall, so not huge, but the location we're thinking of maybe putting it at is Sylvian Park. And Sylvian Park is on Main Street. It's actually the corner of Main and Jasper,
Right.
which is also Route 1 and Route 150.
Yes.
So they had one previously at Twin Lakes Park, but they had issues with vandalism, and so it was taken down. But yeah, I have people stop by the Chamber office that have been to Paris, Kentucky, or Paris, Texas.
There's a lot of Parises
There
in
is
the
a lot
United
of
States.
Parises, and they'll go, so where's your Eiffel Tower? We always get our picture taken with an Eiffel Tower. So that started me thinking we need to see about getting one set up somewhere, and I think it would be a great thing for the tourists and to come and see that we do have an Eiffel Tower in Paris.
Absolutely. So it's past the idea stage. It's being sketched, and so we'll
Yes.
when we talk with you next time, we'll see
Okay.
where it is as far as
Great.
progress. Very good.
Great.
Lastly, let's talk about how COVID-19 has impacted the Paris businesses, and something that you at the Chamber have talked about using to help them out is this Shop Local Spotlight.
Yes. We, of course, understand, the hardships that this pandemic has caused our businesses and industries. And so we were looking for a way that we could maybe help promote their businesses. And one of the things that I think has been the biggest asset is we started this program called Shop Local Spotlight. And the Chamber purchases a $25 gift card to a restaurant or a business. And when the public visits these locations, they are to take a picture send it to the chamber showing that they were there, maybe take a picture of their food or the front door showing where they're located at, and they would send it to us via email, and then we have a drawing for the gift certificate. So it helps bring traffic in for the businesses. It's been very well received. We actually did this, I think, last summer, in June of last year, and it was very well received. And so we decided, they're still going through hard times.
Right.
We want to go ahead and do this one more time. And they've been very receptive, and the businesses appreciate the extra boost.
Absolutely. It's very well known from everyone involved with this pandemic, which has been almost a year now, as we're
Yes.
taping here in late January, how the local businesses in a lot of communities, especially in the smaller towns, how they're impacted. So for the chambers in our Central Illinois viewing area to be able to help them. You're a community leader. You're a chamber director here in Paris, Illinois. Overall, how has the community kind of navigated? Using you as an example to maybe speak on behalf of the community, how has the community navigated through COVID-19 here almost a year later?
I think that they have coped very well. Of course, I don't see behind the scenes, the businesses and the restaurants. I know they've all been affected. But, the chamber has thrived. I can't say much has changed here other than, we're not able to have any of our special festivals or events. But other than that, we have done very well. I think the biggest hardship has been with the industries. If you look just driving by, you'll see a sign out front in most all of the industries now hiring. The issues they have had is actually with the changes in the compensation for unemployment.
Right.
They can draw $900 a week on unemployment versus $600 on their paycheck.
Correct.
So, that's really hurt the industries a lot. That and the contact tracing, because they have had employees, like for instance, last week I toured the Aerogentech plant, and they have 87 employees there. Mm-hmm. Well, because of their precise work that they do, they have had a lot of absenteeism, and they've had to have employees step up and, work more than one department or fill in for others. Yeah. So that's been a hardship. But, all in all, I would say that our community is very optimistic, cautiously optimistic,
right,
actually.
Right.
But we see things are going to open up, and we're coping and looking at it in a positive attitude.
Well, in our first part of the interview with you, Linda, we talked about the growth here in Paris. So it's all there for when things can open back up, and hopefully soon, because we know there's a lot of great festivals.
Absolutely.
And activities that take place in Paris, Illinois.
Exactly.
Linda Lane, Executive Director of the Paris Chamber of Commerce. We appreciate you having you back on City Spotlight again. Thank you.
Thank you for asking me.
Appreciate it. And coming up next here on City Spotlight, we'll talk with Mark Cox of Paris High School. But first, let's take a look at some of the upcoming activities going on in Paris. And welcome back to City Spotlight as we continue this on-location episode on Paris. Again, we're taping here in the Paris Chamber of Commerce offices, and we welcome back to the program in this next segment the principal of Paris High School, Mark Cox. Mark, pleasure to see you.
Thanks for inviting me.
Pleasure. And
good to do that.
The last time we taped with Mark, you were titled assistant principal, so there's been a bit of a title change for you. Tell us, when did you change over to the principal role?
It would have been at the end of June. Mrs. Bailey and Mrs. Jones both retired again, and so I put my name in the hat for the position. We were already in the middle of the pandemic, and fortunately enough, the board felt that I was the right person for the job, so here we are.
Okay, and as the previous time we talked with Mark, you're a lifelong, I think, Parisian, as you said. And you've been a part of Paris High School for 15 plus years or so as an educator, most of that as being an assistant principal. So for you, Mark, it must give you great pride to be able to lead this high school in your hometown.
Yeah, it's I am proud. It's very exciting to be able to tell kids that, you know, that are there, that you can do things and you can come back to your community and be a mentor to people, or you know, run things and make your community a better place with positions that you can get here just in Paris, Illinois. So.
Okay, very good. All right, let's talk about your current school year as we tape here in the final week of January. If folks at home are seeing this for the first time in February 2021. It's been a unique school year, as we've talked to many educators here on City Spotlight in this season, and look forward to hearing your comments about how Paris High School has been educating, teaching, teachers and students have been working. Tell us about the current school year. When did you guys start, and how have you guys been learning?
Paris High School, working with both districts, Unit 4 and Mrs. Young, and District 95 and Dr. Larson, spent a lot of collaboration time this summer, along with our department chairs who volunteered their summer vacation time to make plans. And our plan was to come back and to be in session. Of course, we do allow people to choose to be remote. When we started off at the beginning of the year, just like any other year, with the exception of masks and being prepared socially distanced, different sanitation guidelines, changes in lunchrooms. We now have 4 lunchrooms and 3 lunch periods, as opposed to 1 lunchroom and 2 lunch periods. So that's different. But as far as planning, many things went into play here, but our goal was to be in person because there's far more need for students to be in person, and it goes way beyond a book or knowledge-based material. It's food, it's clothing, it's mentors, it's social stuff, and we felt that those things outweighed the chances that people were concerned with at the beginning. You know, so we just made plans to combat that, and it's been going well. I think we probably have about 80 kids that chose to be remote.
Okay.
All of our teachers have Google Classroom, so those kids work through Google Classroom and Google Meets. A lot of our teachers have become really proficient with it. Lessons are videotaped. There's hotspots in town provided by District 95 and Unit 4. Mm-hmm. Computer leasing can happen for remote kids if they don't have a computer. They can change their mind at the quarter and come back to in-person. You can't flow back and forth during the semester. Students, they do have the right at any point to say, I want to be remote, but then you have to stay remote until the end of a quarter. So most of our kids are in person, and we haven't had a case in the building of COVID-19. We have kids quarantined because of contact tracing, and that's an ongoing thing almost weekly. But we have a good team in the office. Missy Tingley, our nurse, is exceptional. Jeff Barnes is student services, and myself, we all work together. When we get the call, all the teachers have up-to-date seating charts, and the rooms have been modified, spread apart. We've actually made different classrooms out of different spaces because the classes are too big.
Right.
So, for example, our band, Dr. Pruitt, they're not playing their instruments, but they are learning different types of technology where they can play their instruments at home, and then they put it all together.
Right.
And so they meet in the theater where we can space out those 90 kids.
It's a big theater, yeah.
Yeah, so we're fortunate to have something like that, to be able to do that. The community, Prospect Bank, the Turkey Federation here in town, Donnie Bartos and Diamond Brothers have all donated the great big tents. So we have outdoor tents with sidewalls where the kids can go outside and take their masks off in space.
Wow.
We modified our schedule to a block type schedule where so you have less movement. So we only have 4 periods a day. And those teachers know that when the weather's nice, they can take their kids out on a break and they can go underneath those tents out of the elements take their masks off, breathe for a little bit, and go back in. So
Absolutely. My initial follow-up, and you've answered many of my questions for you, Mark, but what I'm thinking here is, as we're taping here 2021, the current Paris High School is the newer Paris High School. And could you imagine, and you obviously have plenty of experience being in the former Paris High School, can you imagine going through COVID in the old Paris High School with this newer facility, probably having the more wide open spaces to work with?
it would have definitely been more challenging. You don't even have the air ventilation system that we have at the new school, which, you know, a lot of schools were talking about changing their HVAC systems to circulate air better. We already have that. So that wasn't a concern that we had. So that would have been a big concern. And definitely smaller class spaces. We would have had to have a different type of plan in that building. For sure. Yeah.
When I toured the facility when it first opened there that summer before that first school year in the new school, just how it was built for for the future, and who knew that it would come in handy for something like this.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
So you kind of told me how the school year has gone. Again, talk about the individuals in the building. You're the principal, but you have all the students, you have the staff, the teachers. Talk a little bit about their flexibility to make this all work.
Well, I would simply just praise all the teachers. And not just at Paris High School. Unit 4, District 95, they're all working tremendously hard. Some had larger learning curves than others to do remote type stuff. District 95 provided great professional development stuff at the beginning of this year for Google Classroom and to be proficient at being able to use that. We already had 7 to 10 teachers that were using Google Classroom on a regular basis at the high school when the pandemic hit. So when that started back in March, we had an in-service day the day before the governor shut us all down, and we spent the whole day setting up everybody else with those teachers being in charge, showing people how to do that. And so, and then a lot of them took their summertime to collaborate, so we all were on the same page. And now, I mean, most of them, they're just rolling with how this goes. But it's a lot more work. We changed our schedule. Kids get out earlier, 2:45. So the last hour of the day, every day, is remote learning time for staff, so they can reach those remote learners or talk to them or call them if they're not getting information back in a timely manner, stuff like that. So
there's just a couple minutes left, Mark, and I want to ask you about lots of activities typically take place at Paris High School in the spring and throughout the year. And ironically, we taped last February-ish with the Paris bands there, so I'm kind of seeing how things might be functioning as you described how they're playing. But tell us about the sports, the musicals, and of course the big one, which I'm sure they were all affected last spring, and Mayfete. How are they impacted in this current school year?
Currently, things are being planned to be virtual, but we are ahead of the game. All our early grads have already had their pictures taken in their cap and gown in case we need to be virtual, and then as we move forward, the rest of the seniors will get their pictures taken, and we'll have something prepared in advance if we can't. If we can be some outside, we'll be outside. We just have to wait and see, and we have to be prepared for different options. So we're doing meetings with student council members and school sponsors to discuss what are our options. So we've already met with Mayfete. We already have a Mayfete court. Those senior girls met with their sponsor and with administration. We have a plan for a virtual Mayfete. They will get to walk down the red carpet at scheduled times, and it will get recorded, and we will put that together. If it allows, we will have a Mayfete in person. It will be different because they can't have the practices that they did for the different skits, throughout that. But there will still be things that we can do in the virtual one that you can do in person if that's possible. So all that planning is happening right now, and so.
Final thoughts on the entire school year, and again, the community, for not just you praising the teachers, staff, and the students, again, the community for making this all possible and the students being able to learn.
Final thoughts on that?
Yeah.
It takes a village, and you're seeing it happen. I don't know what to say. You have people in the community that come and bring food for the kids that need food. We have homeless shelters that are helping with the homeless kids, masks, clothes.
Wow.
And on top of that, people are still trying to learn and move forward. Our alternative learning site through District 95 has been awesome as well. So some of the overflow that we might have are kids that were at risk that got really behind when the pandemic started,
Right.
have an opportunity to try to catch up credits and recover to get back on pace where they need to be to graduate. So,
Mark Cox, principal at Paris High School. Appreciate you sharing how the school year has gone during these interesting conditions. Mark, we look forward to talking with you again down the road.
thank you. It's nice to be here.
Pleasure. And that'll do it for this latest City Spotlight episode on Paris, as we've been on location here at the Paris Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com.